Hello, welcome back to County Board Wrap-Up. I'm Mary Curtis from the Office of Communications. With me here again today is Mary Hynes, the County Board Chair. Welcome, Mary.
Hi, Mary. Good to be here.
It's good to have you back again
Thanks.
to tell us something about what happened at the June County Board meeting.
It was a busy meeting. We were there for a long time.
Yes, it was a long meeting, that's true. Each month, following the county board meetings, we're taking a half hour to talk about some of the actions the board took and what those actions mean for you, your family, and your community, so you can stay informed about what your government is doing and why. So Mary, the first thing I want to talk about are these two very interesting plans that came forward to the board for Rosslyn and the future of Rosslyn. If you could tell us a little bit about the Rosslyn sector plan and about RAPS and why the board set public hearings for both of them in July.
Well, you know, we've been working on both of these for quite some time. We've been talking about what the next iteration of Rosslyn will be almost since 2008, recognizing that as a sector, it kind of was rolling up at night. But we have increasingly more people who live in the Rosslyn area. I think we're up to about 11,000 now residents in the Rosslyn area. So how could we make Rosslyn work better? How could we manage the fact that it has some elements of being the throughway between Arlington Boulevard and Key Bridge? It's an incredible transportation hub. We haven't thought very strategically about open space in Rosslyn. And then probably the most contentious piece of this was how high is too high, and how do we pay attention to having a great ground plane where people are, but also an interesting skyline that makes that's memorable, I guess, and that allows access to views. So the Rosslyn sector plan really addresses all of those issues in a very integrated manner with new policies and new approaches. And it is a transformative plan, let me tell you. There's an idea here of 18th Street, which parallels Wilson Boulevard, starting up near where Wilson School is, running continuously down to the edge of 66.
Wait, what is the configuration right now?
Right now, it's all broken up by big buildings. 18th Street doesn't go all the way down. Key Boulevard goes part of the way down. So right now, Wilson and Clarendon are the only two roads that make traverse that whole thing. So this envisions 18th Street as a walkable street. And in fact, in some of the most grade challenge blocks, it becomes pedestrian only, with interesting stairs and shops along the way, and then a park at the top of the hill and a park at the bottom of the hill. So a very different way to experience that than what we have now. It also envisions getting rid of that tunnel on Fort Myer Drive and squeezing the road up to make it be more efficient and safer for pedestrians and bicyclists, and having cars go both ways on both Fort Myer and on Lynn. So there's a lot of change, but the biggest change is in how we approach height. So height, in the old idea, it was like a tent, and we had that idea for each of our station areas, that the highest point was at the metro station, and the building height stepped down from there like a circus tent. The problem with Rosslyn, if you know it at all, is that the ground isn't flat, and in fact, as you go west, you've got this huge rise. So the tent actually would hit the rise at some point, and yet here you've got this great geography with potentially wonderful views. So what's being advanced here is an idea we call peaks and valleys, so that we position buildings in a way to preserve something that the board created in 2007 when it approved Central Place, which is a public observation deck above the metro. So they've studied what the views are, and it's incredible if you've been even up to the top of any of the other buildings. But I mean, you really can see all the way from the Masonic Temple.
Oh, it's
all
a panoramic view.
It's incredible. So as a tourist attraction, as a place to enjoy the uniqueness of Rosslyn, we want to preserve those views. So they've mapped out where those views are. They've put lower buildings in places where the key views are. There are a few places where the tops of the buildings will jut into that view, and those tops of buildings have to be amazing. And then that sort of undulation continues throughout the sector plan. And A lot of other things about Rosslyn, about how we get to height, don't change in Rosslyn. People still have to earn their way up. They have to contribute to achieving other great goals that we have for the sector, the developers, the owners of the building. But it's a big revisioning. It's got a lot of other, got a lot of potential to really make Rosslyn a different place than it is today.
And I take it these are not changes we're going to see overnight.
Right. This is a plan that runs through 2040, so it's about a 25-year plan. It was timed partly related to the fact that there's a lot of buildings in Rosslyn that are beginning to reach the end of their useful life. So this was really a way to help owners understand what their opportunities and their challenges would be, because we do want to end up with some important goals for the community of a great public realm. So there's another one, though, too. Let me talk about the second one. Fondly called Western Rosslyn Area Plan, WRAPS. It really is only about 4 parcels at the top of the hill. The Wilson School parcel, where the school board is planning to build a new school to meet the needs of HB Woodlawn. The parcel where our fire station is, that also has a small park called Rosslyn Highlands Park. The parcel next to the fire station heading east, which has a commercial building, and then a parcel off of 18th Street where APA has a number of small affordable housing buildings. So we've been working on this for a little bit over a year. It's been really tough. We have a lot of goals in this area, and so nobody's getting everything that they wanted. And we're still sort of moving the pieces around, because the board's committed to getting the greatest amount of public open space here that we can, as much of it contiguous as we possibly can. And there will also be new recreational amenities, because there's going to be a synthetic field associated with the school. There will be a high school-sized gym that the schools will be building. They're talking about outdoor playing fields potentially on the roof of the building, and so how we help the community, basketball courts, did I say fields? Basketball courts and tennis courts potentially.
So you're looking at community access to
Absolutely, and that's what we heard from the community over and over when they came on Tuesday night was, this could work. But we've got to have access to this, or it doesn't make any sense to us at all.
And the board will be holding another public hearing on this in July and taking a final decision
On both of these, that's right. So this is the first shot. We said this is ready, let's hear what the public has to say. We now have a much more constrained set of issues that we're working on, and in the case of WRAPS with schools, to get to something that I think we can adopt the end of July.
Okay, well that's going to be very interesting.
Absolutely.
We'll take a short break, and when we come back, we'll talk about another plan that came before the board this month. I'm really looking forward to
Do you know a volunteer? Do you volunteer? What if I told you that 32% of Arlingtonians volunteer each year? Over 10,000 volunteers donate over 500,000 hours of service to the county government each year. Yes, 500,000 hours. You can accomplish a lot in that time, like provide canine companions to help over 1,000 children improve their reading skills, educate over 2,000 residents about emergency preparedness, mark storm drains on 81 miles of Arlington streets, lead over 13,500 hours of summer camp activities, respond to over 18,000 hours of fire and medical emergencies, deliver and distribute books to over 400 homebound and disabled residents, provide over 700 hours of counseling and service to Arlington entrepreneurs, survey 51 unsheltered homeless adults to identify permanent housing and service needs, maintain 21 art bus stops, teach U.S. history and civics to 126 adults in preparation for the U.S. citizenship exam. In all, the time that volunteers contribute is worth over $10 million each year to county government programs and our community. Now, it's time for you to get involved. Connect with Volunteer Arlington and find an opportunity to make a difference in your community. Any amount of time and talent can help shape the lives of those around you and help make Arlington a better place. Visit arlingtonva.us/volunteer to learn more.
Welcome back to Board Wrap-Up with Mary Hynes, who is taking us through the major items that were discussed and decided at the June board meeting. Mary, another major item that came before you is something called the Affordable Housing Master Plan. Can you tell us exactly what this is and why the board decided to set a public hearing for this in September?
Sure. We've had affordable housing targets and goals for a long time here in this county, but we haven't had a housing element in our comprehensive plan. And that's important. The state of Virginia requires us to have one. So we wanted to fill that in because affordable housing is actually really important to the board and the community. So 3 years ago, 2.5 years ago now, we established a working group to take a look at our existing policy, to look at how we spend our money, and to help us think about how to strategically move forward to meet the affordable housing challenges that we have here in Arlington, which, while not unique in the region, actually we need to develop our own best solutions to help us figure out what we should do next.
Do we actually have a problem with affordable housing in Arlington?
Oh, yeah, we do. You know, we have since 2000, we've lost 13,500 affordable units. Now, that was what the market was producing. And when I came here in the 70s, we had a very high percentage of our housing. Both our homes for ownership and our rentals were very affordable to people who were making 50, 60, 70% of the area median income. Not true anymore. And so we need all those jobs here in this community. We value diversity on economic, racial, linguistic dimensions. The housing mix means that we can support that kind of a value. And so we've been thinking about how do we move forward. We use a tool called Committed Affordable Housing where the county puts a little bit of money in and it's leveraged with private and federal money to help us ensure that we have some in our stock that's affordable.
Well, with the Affordable Housing Master Plan, you talked about taking a look at the county's policy on affordable housing. What are the key changes that you're now considering? Is there any big shift or difference in how we'll approach affordable housing?
Well, I think I would say yes to that, Mary. So there's two major places where I think this is quite different from before. The old plan said we're going to try to make 400 a year, 400 committed affordable units. Well, what does that mean in terms of your percentage of housing affordability? This plan says that has a goal of about 17.7% of our rental housing being affordable to people who make 60% of area median income or less. 60% of area median income for a family of four is about $65,000.
That's a really odd percentage, 17.7%.
I
How did
know.
they come up with that?
It is. Well, they looked at what percent of folks currently living in Arlington fell into that earning band. And it's a little bit more than that is today. So it says, you know, if we want people to be able to only have to spend about 1/3 of their income on housing, then, and we have this mix of jobs, we're kind of going to need to stay in that band. Now, there's a lot of debate about whether that number is the right number, and I know some of my colleagues think maybe we need to take it down a little and have it, but it's a stretch goal, and it's a goal that is about how the mix is in the community.
Well, you say it's a stretch goal. So what is the percentage that is affordable to that group in the county today?
9%.
So we have 17.7% of our population that falls into that
About
group.
16% of our population falls in that group, but we only have 9% of our housing.
Well, clearly there's a gap.
There's a gap, and that's really what the point is you know, to be a sustainable community, I think housing makes a huge difference. So the affordability of housing kind of works on 3 dimensions for me. One is it stabilizes families. When I was on the school board, one of the things we noticed the most was that when kids are in housing and they're housing insecure because either it's unaffordable or the quality isn't good, their families are always looking to move. But when folks have the option of being a committed affordable unit, the family stays. They put down roots. Kids do better. They make friends. The family becomes part of our community. So it stabilizes the family. In the similar way, it stabilizes the neighborhood that it's in because there's not all that churn of people coming and going and constantly looking. It also makes us a lot more attractive to businesses. You know, so much of our economy is service economy, and when workers live closer by, it really can make quite a difference. We laugh in my neighborhood, Greg Cahill, who runs Whitlow's on Wilson, always hires a lot of people who live nearby because when it snows, he can open and nobody else can. It's a strategy. It's a way to keep yourself operational. So that's one way that the plan's different. Let me tell you about the other way. In the old plan, the old element, the county had divided itself up into some regions, and we had a goal for how much affordable housing in each region. We didn't have any tools to make it happen, except in places we already had modest housing. And so that's why people have seen more committed housing in certain places. Now, interestingly, there's a lot of housing north of Route 50 that's affordable, along the RB corridor and a little bit in Westover. There's a lot on Columbia Pike too. That's because that's where the original gardens were built. So this plan says, okay, we agree, distribution matters, we need to figure this out. And it says we start with preservation of what we have. Then we look at our transportation corridors, our good bus corridors, and places, and we say, what are our forms? And then third, we say, single-family neighborhoods, there's opportunities in single-family neighborhoods, whether it's the small unit for the caregiver who's helping you stay in your home, or you want to move into a smaller unit and rent your home. We can add some variety in the size of units in our single-family neighborhoods as long as it's done in keeping with the neighborhood character. So we're looking at those kind of tools. The community's really asked us to think about, should we have some goals around in those three areas for what we're looking for, and the board's going to take that up, I think, in July when we come back.
So this will obviously be another very interesting discussion at the July board meeting.
I think that's right, yeah.
Sounding like a very busy board meeting.
Oh, wait,
coming
you know
up.
what? I'm going to correct you and myself. It's
Oh,
September.
September.
It's
That's right.
September. This
That
one
one
we
is September.
decided we needed to take a little bit more time.
Right.
We're going to be working with schools a little bit to understand this issue of stability versus transiency from their point of view and how it impacts schools.
Well, this is really an exciting new approach to affordable housing in Arlington.
I think so.
We're going to take another short break. When we come back, we'll talk about other actions the board took at the June meeting.
Arlington has safe and beautiful trails for biking, running, and walking. As the days get longer, people of all ages spend more time outside, and this includes criminals too. Here are some safety tips if you are using the trails in our area. Wear light, reflective clothing. Try to go out with a friend. Try to use populated areas during the daylight hours. Make sure you bring a cell phone. Familiarize yourself with your trails and avoid areas you don't know. If you listen to music, make sure you leave one ear open. Tell someone where you will be going before you leave. And remember, never hesitate to call the police if you think you spot suspicious activity. Call 911 for emergencies, and for non-emergencies, call 703-558-2222. For more safety tips, go to arlingtonva.us/police.
Welcome back. The plans for Rosslyn and affordable housing were clearly major items for our community and the board to consider, but they weren't the only matters that came before the board this month. Mary, the board gave direction to the manager to explore a partnership between the county and Forest City to redevelop the Ballston Mall. Can you tell us about what exactly you're thinking of there?
Well, Forest City's been thinking about what to do about the Ballston Mall for a while, and I think a lot of people in the community have seen some of their dreams and their plans. It's all really come together now, and they've come in to formally ask that we work with them. The mall has been not doing well for quite some time, and if we don't do something, it really will be a terrible drain on our economy. So the board has authorized the manager to sit down and kind of duke it out with them and figure out what we need to do. Their plans are really exciting and includes, some residential and opening the mall up and having an incredible street presence, all things we know work for folks. And they're going off to look for retailers who we don't necessarily have in the region. So that's pretty exciting too.
That is very exciting. When do you expect to hear back about exactly what the plans are, and when is this all going to be decided?
So we asked the manager to come back to us in 30 days with an outline of how this might work, what the benefits would be for the community and for Arlington, both from a fiscal point of view as well as a placemaking point of view, and understand what they need. The partnership part is they may need us to use some of our financing tools for some portion of time. We're going to be looking at what best practices. The hope is to finish this up in 2015, so it's a very aggressive plan. Planning Commission's already laid out their schedule to start taking it up.
Well, this is an exciting potential change.
Incredible, incredible.
Well, I want to talk to you about another partnership, a very different kind of partnership. The board also approved allowing Greenbrier Learning Center to use a room and some facilities in Arlington Mill Community Center. Can you tell us why the board took that step?
Well, Greenbrier Learning Center is like one of our stellar nonprofits. They do just amazing work with kids in that Arlington Mill neighborhood. It used to be called Columbia Heights West, associated with Campbell School and Carlin Spring. The church they've been in, where their name comes from, has ended their lease, and Greenbrier's been on the look for a new spot, and we all thought Arlington Mill would be a great place, and so the Parks folks and the Greenbrier Learning folks sat down, and we have a memorandum of understanding. We're all so excited. They serve, I think, about 100 kids every day after school, so it'll bring those kids into our community center in a great way, I think.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
That seems like a wonderful combination.
Win-win for everybody, I think.
And I also wanted to ask you about a couple of contracts that the board approved that I think kids are also going to be very excited about. Can you tell us about those contracts?
Yeah, so the first one's in the same neighborhood, in the Arlington Mill neighborhood. It's Tyrell Hills Park. This is the third phase of a three-phase plan that's been going on for almost 10 years. The neighborhood is so excited that it's finally all going to come to fruition, and it will probably take us until, Christmas time, I would imagine, to finish it up. But it's on its way. It's going to be moving along. The other one I'm really excited about, we built Longbridge Park, all those beautiful fields and the Esplanade, but if you went there and you had kids who weren't playing in the soccer game, there was no place for those kids to safely hang out. So 3 little spots down along 10th Street, I think it is, have been designed by kids, which is really cool.
Great.
Actually, so was Tyrell Hills, designed by the kids, to create 3 little environments where kids can safely play. And there's a bit of shade provided because that's not a very shady part.
No, it's not.
And so I think families are going to have a much more pleasant multi-age time down there when those are done.
Oh, that's great. That's a great park, and I'm sure people will be excited about it getting even better.
Well, we actually accelerated the funding of this based on community requests.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Well, now let's talk about a little bit of fun for adults.
I think it all depends on your perspective.
Well, we're talking about a new kind of car sharing in Arlington, and I think a lot of people are going to be excited about this. So tell us why the board is allowing this kind of car sharing, and why this is starting out as just a demonstration project.
Sure. So Car2Go, people have seen those itty-bitty cars, I think, in DC and other places. Car2Go is going to be coming into Arlington for a 1-year trial. Now, Car2Go is different than Zipcar. With Zipcar, there are designated spots, and you have to take it back to the designated spot. With Car2Go, they basically pay a license fee, and they can leave the car at any spot in Arlington, a metered spot, or even in our zoned areas of the county. Their experience is that most cars don't stay in one place for more than an hour or 2. So we're piloting this to find out whether that's actually true or not. The board's asked the staff to report to us and to the neighborhoods every 5 months. It's a 15-month trial. On what's really happening. Is the turnover happening? There's concern, I think, in some of the residential parking permit areas that we could end up with a whole bunch of these sitting there for a day, taking up parking that actually is needed by residents. So, but I will say this is really exciting because it's just another layer. Just like bike share allows you to hop on a bike and take a short trip, Car2Go would allow you to do that on a rainy day, make a different choice. And Arlington only works when our layers are all there, and if you choose not to have a car, having options about how you get around is really important. So we'll learn some things. Oh, last thing I should say about this is it's not interactive with the DC program at the moment.
This is just for Arlington.
This is just for Arlington. You could take a car across the bridge, but you'd be paying for it the whole time you parked it and brought it back, and it would be too expensive actually for it to make sense.
So the big advantage here is you just get in the car, you drive to where you want to go, you
And you
park
leave it.
it, you leave it, they come and get it.
Well, somebody comes and gets it. I
Okay.
see, because you're looking on your phone,
I
right?
see.
So I want to go
Wow.
find a car to go. Unlike bike share where I go to the location,
Uh-huh.
my phone's going to show me where all these little cars are parked. And I pick the closest one and walk over there and hop in. So
Well, obviously, this was an action-packed board meeting.
it sure was.
And I think one of the longer board meetings.
Well, yeah, we were there, gosh, almost 12 hours on Saturday and 9 hours on Tuesday. It was, both felt like marathons. It's very likely in July that we'll meet 3 days instead
3
of 2
days.
because there's so many things on the agenda.
My goodness.
This does sometimes happen in the summer.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, thank you yet again for joining us and for telling us so much about what happened at the June board meeting, Mary. We really appreciate it.
Thanks, Mary. It's good to be here.
And we look forward to seeing you in July.
I'll be here.
And thank you all once again for joining us for the County Board Wrap-Up. Remember, if you have more questions about the topics we've discussed, email them here at atv@arlingtonva.us or tweet them with the hashtag #CountyBoardWrap. And we'll try to answer them next time. See you next month.
Arlington is a safe community, but criminal activity does occur, especially in warm weather when unlocked doors and open windows can prove tempting. Here are some safety tips from the Arlington County Police Department. Do not leave windows open when no one is home. If you leave windows open while sleeping, do not leave any first-floor windows open. Ask a neighbor to watch your home when you're away. Do not leave valuables in places visible from the street. Always lock your doors. Do not hide keys on your property. Instead, ask a trusted neighbor or friend to hold on to an extra set. Alert your neighbors to suspicious people or activity. And remember, never hesitate to call the police if you think you spot suspicious activity. Call 911 for emergencies, and for non-emergencies, call 703-558-2222. And for more safety tips, go to arlingtonva.us/police.
Imagine a world where potholes could fill themselves, swings could yell out when they're broken, or walls could talk when they're vandalized. Well, now they can. With your help, introducing the new Arlington VA mobile app that lets you connect with the county in a whole new way. See an issue, then report it on the spot. It's the closest thing to issues reporting themselves. Here's how it works. Let's say you're at a park and you notice the playground equipment is broken, or maybe we missed your trash pickup, or there's a pothole on your street. No problem. Use the Arlington VA app on your smartphone to submit a request. Your GPS finds where you are, so you can just snap a picture if you like, or write a description, then submit your item. The information instantly goes to the right department. And if you've created an account, you can follow the progress, get email updates, and know when your issue is resolved. And this is just the beginning. We'll be updating the app with more items. Did we mention? The app also connects you with other county information, right from the home screen. But hey, don't have a smartphone? Don't worry. You can also report a problem from the Arlington website the same way. It's that easy. The new Arlington VA app, a smart app that makes a smarter county. Search Arlington VA in the Apple or Android store and download it now, or go to arlingtonva.us.
Hello, my name is John Crawford from the Office of Emergency Management.
And I'm Greta Solis, and we're here to talk to you about the new and improved Arlington Alert System.
It is so important to be prepared during an emergency, and receiving critical information is probably one of the most important things you can do to stay safe.
Our new and improved Arlington Alert System delivers quick and timely information when and where you need it. Simply click on arlingtonva.us/alerts and follow the prompts to develop your own individual profile. It's easy, fast, and it's tailored to fit your needs.
By doing so, you will be well on your way in preparing yourself and your family during critical emergencies.
Get ready, have a plan, and sign up for our free Arlington Alert system. The staff at OEM are here to help you.
So please don't hesitate to call us at 703-228-4080 or 703-228-0711.